You included your audio, yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. We're having some technical difficulties, but we are all good to go from what I can see. Just gonna get the stream all set up, ready to go. Coming in with 10 minutes left of Q1, we have Desbro coming in with a 1:11.3, a very quick lap, coming through as what would have been the fastest lap in Division 5 of yesterday. Let's see who is out on the track here now. Have a look at Mr. C. Bradshaw in the Aston Martin. Coming round the final straight, coming down into this final hairpin now. We'll see what time he can look to set here, coming through in Q1 here today. Does not invalidate on the final chicane. And looks here to set
and
a 1:11.5. Not bad, not bad.
validating there on Wall of Champions is extremely easy.
Yeah, Wall of Champions caused you a lot of difficulty yesterday. I do remember in qualifying, setting some really quick laps, but just constant invalidations just seem to bite you on repeat.
When I got that 11.3, I was actually quite happy.
Oh, that 11.3 was very quick. It's a shame you couldn't come through and set one in Q3, but blisteringly quick times in both Q1 and Q2 yesterday. But that final chicane can prove to be a very big problem in Wall of Champions, setting penalties all through yesterday's race, especially with the amount of rain we started to pick up towards the rear end.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It'll be interesting to see what we do here, as we have a bit of a problem here in Sector 2. I'm not sure what's happened there. A 1:12 on mediums is very impressive, really.
Oh.
Especially on the mediums, wow. That is very impressive. Be interesting to see what weather we're looking at today as we come around here, as I do believe we do have one of the Aston Martins about to start another hot lap, potentially, or might be pitting. Let's have a look here with Bradshaw and just see what he is going to do here. Is he going into the pits or is he starting off a lap? Looks like he's going down into the pits, not a problem. We'll have a look at this Mercedes right here as it comes through. Not bad, not bad. Coming through Mr. Crunch here, down this final area here, about to come through the Wall of Champions. Let's see what he can do. Invalidating, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame.
Let's see what we can come through here. Who have we got?
Nifty.
Let's have a look at Mr. Nifty Nasri. Setting a relatively fast Sector 1 here as we come through now into Sector 2. Canada's just such a fast track. Obviously, we'd like to see the rain not hit today, as we had some awful weather conditions towards the rear end of yesterday's race. It will be a terrible shame if we manage to hold those coming through into the later areas of today. But we're seeing a nice, relatively clear sky. There's a lot of potential here for today to go well for the races here. We're already seeing a lot of very fast 1:11s in Q1. It'll be interesting to see if we can drop down into the 1:10s as we move through into Q2 and Q3. Nifty Nasri here now coming through into the Wall of Champions. Let's see if he can hold it around this track and not invalidate here as he comes through with a blisteringly fast pace. Can he set himself a 1:11 here of good speed? Just dropping into the 1:12s, but 7 in Q1, that is not bad. Fastest lap set by Blazer Gun and a 1:10.8. Very, very quick speed here in Q1. Do we think we can see that get beaten as we move into Q2 and Q3? 1:10.8 is very, very good pace. What do you reckon? Do you think we'll see any faster laps than that coming through in Q1, or do you reckon he's going to hold pole for Q1 at least?
10:8 Q1. That's an incredible time.
It's interesting to see someone go push so hard in Q1. Obviously, personally, I would try to just do kind of what I can just to make it through, to hold those tyres going into Q3, trying to get myself pole for a race.
Yeah. If you can manage to get 2 fresh set of soft tyres in Q3, you're in a very good position.
Yellow flag here now as we see Blazer just taking it nice and slow, as it probably looks like he's going to go into the pits here. Mr. Crunchy there just coming through his outlap now in this Alfa Romeo. Be interesting to see how he looks to start off this hot lap here, as we are just coming down the final straight now, coming up to the Wall of Champions, holding a very impressive 190 miles an hour, pushing up, possibly going to breach 200 here before the chicane. Just wrist out here, but let's see what we can do as he comes around with good pace, holding very good speed into the start of his hot lap here. What has Mr. Crunchy got for us today? Comes through turn 1. Holds very good speed as he's coming around these first 2 corners here. Takes a very, very, very narrow turn. Holds his speed very well as he's just coming through the straight down through sector 1, hitting that second chicane. Now takes that with, again, a very good amount of speed.
Very, very
sector
good.
1 coming through with a 20.4. That is quick. Alpha Romeo is looking scarily quickly today as he now comes through the straight down through sector 2, about to approach the next chicane in the Canada track. Has he got it to hold the speed and take the apex very well here as he comes through? Again, holds that speed very well. This could be a quick lap here from Crunchy as we come through now. Let's see how he tackles this hairpin here. 43.1 through sector 2. He holds his speed really well through the hairpin too. This could be on for a very high performance here on this final hot lap for this boy on Q1. Absolutely
Champions
flying
coming
down
up.
the straight here. See how he takes the Wall of Champions here. This could prove vital for his hot lap here. Let's see what he can do. Takes that very well. Oh my. Can he beat Blazer's time here? It doesn't look like it, but 1:11, 1:12.
What?
It looked a lot quicker than it was. I'm
A lot.
genuinely very surprised. Very surprised. That looked like an incredibly quick lap. Blazer now just going into the pits. Crunchy obviously just cooling down his car now. Arash also looks to be going at a relatively fast pace here as he comes through. It looks like he's going to pit. Never mind. Oh no, this is a very slow lap. I assume it's very, very slow. I'm not sure what's going on there. 1:12.6 for Arash here. Interesting. I think Ipswich is going to need to pick up that time. A 1:17 is not going to be enough for him to get through Q2 if this is the pace he looks to be holding for today. See what Crunchy's got here as he comes down the straight down sector 3, moving in to the final chicane, the Wall of Champions. Is he pitting here or is this a hot lap? It is a pit lap.
Oh, pit lap.
Looks like Arash.
Well, everyone's definitely going.
Oh, I don't know.
Q2.
Arash setting a quicker sector 1 here with a 20.1. See what Arash has got here, pushing through sector 3 now, coming down this final straight. Does he have a decent lap in him here, or is this also another one that is going in? Annoyingly, we did pick up the stream slightly late down to technical difficulties, otherwise I probably have a better clue on things. Here he comes through on his hot lap, takes the Wall of Champions very well here. Is this a quick lap? Let's see. It's looking like another 1:11 mid. 1:11.8 does put him into 5th from the 11th position.
Not
Big
bad,
jump
not bad
there
at all.
from Arash.
Well, everyone's definitely going through to Q2.
Obviously, we have 15 cars here, so no one's going to be going out, but some very, very good times here. LR Blazer with the 1:10.8 looks to be the man to beat here today. Have to see how that goes later on in the race. But 1:10.8, 0.5 seconds in front of the entire paddock. This will be interesting to see if he can hold this going through to Q2
It's a
and Q3.
monster time.
Looks to be that no one else will be coming out here in Q1, so these look to be the results set in. I'm already seeing some very quick results here from the Alpine. Alpine look like they're holding some tremendous pace coming through. I don't think we can write off Aston Martin either, with Bradshaw coming in with a 1:11.5, but
No.
his teammate is going to have to pick up that pace. A 1:17.9 will not be enough to get him through Q2 if this is the pace he seems to be setting today. Obviously, he might have just taken it easy through Q1, seeing as he's basically guaranteed to go through. There's some very, very quick times here. The McLaren of Desbro 123 with a 1:11.3 as well, blisteringly quick, as well as the Haas of FTR Moggs with an 11.5. There's some very, very quick times here today. I think we'll see a lot more 1:11s and maybe a couple more 1:10s as we push through into Q2 and also Q3.
No, definitely. I want to say I want to see a 1:9, but is that going to be
1:9.
possible in Q3?
It could be possible, it could be possible. It depends how people have held their softs. Obviously, we have Ruley coming through with a 1:12, almost pushing into 1:11s just on the mediums, which is very, very impressive from Ethan.
That's
It'll be
very,
interesting to see
very
what
good,
we
yeah.
can do here. Curious for you guys in the chat, who do you guys have down as your favourites for pole here tonight? Some very, very big names here. Obviously, Blazer has put in a very, very impressive performance here so far tonight.
No, definitely. Especially in Q1.
While we're waiting for Q2, how was your experience with your race yesterday, Dion? How did you find it?
I found it very, very, very nice, especially the first half of it. But when that
And then
rain
you
came,
disappeared.
yeah, I disconnected, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame you weren't able to see out the race, but some very, very fast driving from you in Q1 and Q2, as well as holding that Red Bull in a relatively high place in the paddock as well throughout the race,
I,
keeping it in the top half of the pack.
I did very well yesterday. I really did. I really, really did. But well, Canada is my go-to track. So
There was a point during that race around the 10 lap mark where I genuinely did think you would be fighting with Jake to be the leader of the Canadian Grand Prix. It's unlucky, obviously, with what happened with your connection, obviously pulling you out, but some very,
yeah,
very
yeah,
strong racing from you up until
unfortunately.
that point. It's good to see you, the main RSF1 racing account. We've got an interesting look here so far with this Canada Grand Prix. We've got some very, very quick times coming through Q1. I'll expect to see a lot more 110s though as we push through into the later points of qualifying here today.
Definitely.
It'll be interesting to see how Ferrari take their approach with both Destroyer and Dwarf setting relatively middle of the pack times here. It'll be nice to see them push up into these top areas. Oh, it's Shane. Good to see you, Shane. Rain is in the race today.
Oh,
Relatively clear skies right now though. It'll be interesting to see if that picks up later on or if it starts off early. Hopefully we don't see it until the latter points to make things very, very interesting towards the back end, as we did yesterday. There was no car that finished yesterday without a penalty. Even
I
some
saw.
picking up
Yeah.
over like 15 seconds worth of penalties, a lot of which happening around the Wall of Champions, which is just such a hard corner to take, especially in the wet. Canada's such a tough track on both your brakes and also tyre management. This could be a very, very good test here for a lot of these cars today.
No, definitely. I definitely agree with you with that.
We'll pick up with Ipswich Techers here, who's just on his outlap right now, coming through sector 2. It'll be interesting to see what he can do here today. Let me just very quickly give us some telemetry here to see what his DRS is saying as we go through. Leaving that very close to the wall on the hairpin there. Aston Martin looks to be the first to set a hot lap here. It'll be interesting to see what time he manages to pull. It'll be also interesting to see if Blazer can come through and land himself another very impressive time. Obviously topping Q1 with that 1:10.8 that we saw not too long ago here. For what he's got here as we come through across the line, coming down through this chicane here, starting out. Holds a very decent 60 miles an hour coming through, dropping down to 50 there, holding good pace though as we come round halfway through sector 1 now, about to hit this second chicane in this Aston Martin. Again, takes that with a very good amount of speed. Oh, I think he clips the wall there slightly though. Interesting to see if he's picked up any damage there as we pull through into the later areas here, see if he goes down into the pits. Obviously, hopefully there is no damage there, but we'll have to see how that goes. Taking the chicane to 2 now. Takes that with, again, impressive speed coming through onto this hairpin now. 42.6 on sector 2 for Ipswich is not bad at all. As we take, oh, he slows down a bit on that hairpin though, that might push his time back more than he would like to as he comes down this straight here, moving down into the Wall of Champions, going down through sector 3 with a very impressive, gonna bridge 200 miles an hour here as he hits that speed trap. Takes the chicane, it's just about keeps it on the lines. That should be a 110, maybe a 111 here. Or it's a 111.6 here from Techers, setting that fast lap in Q1. Let's see how Blazer does here on his quick lap. Obviously the favourite right now with his 110.8. Can he keep that pace as he pushes through down here through sector 3? Let's see the speed he takes this chicane with here, see if he hits the apex well. 111.3 from Bradshaw. Ooh. Takes that with, again, a very impressive amount of speed here, does Blazer. Do we see another 110 from the man here today? Sets a 111, just missing out on the 110. Blazer is very, very quick around this track here. But Gilles Villeneuve does look to have his number as he is flying around this track here today. Some of the speed some of these drivers is holding is just incredible. He's obviously invalid at this lap, but that's fine because he's going to probably look to pit here anyway. See what Crunchy's doing as he just comes through sector 2 here, just about to push into sector 3. He's holding a very impressive amount of pace here. 43 seconds in sector 2, gonna hit this hairpin, moving down through sector 3, takes it a little bit slowly there. It's a shame, you'd want to see him hold a little bit more speed as he comes down into this final straight here. Yellow flag through sector 2, hopefully that's just slow drivers pushing through on their outlaps, but it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Kept that in the lines, he's just about kept that in the lines, almost lost it there at the end though. That's going to lose him some time here as he comes across the line with what looks to be a 113, 112.6. That loss of control down after the Wall of Champions killed his time there, but 9th is enough right now to get him through into Q3. I'll be honest, I can't see moving on later through Q2. I think you're going to need to push into the mid 112 if you want to look to get through here, if not the 111s, as we see another 111 set here today, coming through from Immortal. Another 111 now from Dez as he comes across the line. It's going to look like these guys are going to get pushed out unless they start looking for these low 112s, higher 111s. We've got the hustle FTR Mogs just coming down here, down the final straight. Not holding that much speed at all, but it'll be interesting to see if he can manage to pick it up. Oh, he's invalidated that time anyway. This might be a pit here. It's not a pit. 20 here from Mogs. Needs to start setting a lap time here. That's another invalidator through sector 2 now. He needs to get through Q2 here if he wants to get himself a good position in that starting grid. Looking at the front line right now is both Blazer and Dez with very impressive 111s and a 111.2, just missing out on the 111.3 respectively. We have Egon as well, just coming down this final straight on a current 1 minute lap. He's about to take on the Wall of Champions here. Can he hold a good amount of speed coming through here? He's going into the pits, that is okay. 112.4 is possibly enough to keep him in so far. If we can see if we can get some quicker times out of some of these cars moving down the grid later on. I don't think a 112.6 is going to be enough to hold him here. I think you really have to start pushing towards at least a 112.3. Fastest lap from Blazer, trying to get that 110 again as he pulls through with almost a 111 on the dot, shaving 0.023 seconds off of his previous lap. Blazer looks hungry here today. It'll be interesting to see how hard he can push this Alpine through Canada today as we move towards the Canada Grand Prix later on. Who's your favourite to win, Dion?
I don't want to pick favourites, but since that was our first track, Jeddah, no, Azerbaijan. I'm favouring Blazer Guns a lot. He's very, very, very fast. His consistency.
Know how to manage his Alpine very well as well.
Is, I mean, I remember in Baku he crashed in qualifying. He crashed in his sprint race, but he manages to do a last first in the race itself.
He's a very, very quick driver, and he knows how to get the best out of this Alpine here.
Definitely.
Interesting to see if he has what it takes to pull this Alpine out from his back pocket again and pull out another masterclass. It's good to see you back, Thor. Some good racing from you as well yesterday. It's a shame, obviously, you did slightly dive bomb someone on a hairpin, but we won't talk about that. It's okay. 111, almost on the dot for Blazer, setting some very, very quick times here in Division 3. It's looking like so far we have Mogs, Dwarf, Ethan and Crunchy not going to make it through into Q3. We have a lot of time here though as Harry comes down through here. Is he going to take the Wall of Champions to a very quick speed? Takes it, does not invalidate the lap. This could put him into the safety zone, at least 4 now as he looks to pull a 111 here. 111.5 on the dot is enough to keep him in P4 right now. Very, very quick time there from Dwarf in his Ferrari. And we see his teammate Destroyer get himself out into Q3 as he is just outside of that safety zone right now, coming through on his outlap here. Egon also picking up this Red Bull coming round Sector 1, taking that chicane with very decent speed as he's just moving around. Coming through Sector 1 here, flying down this straight, going to hit this chicane as well with a very impressive amount of speed. He seems to be managing this Red Bull very, very well here today on these softs in qualifying number 2. Sets a very, very quick 19.9 there in Sector 1. a very, very quick Red Bull here today. We could see him push more into the safety zone as he's just sat in 10th right now. Very, very dangerous place to be in Q2. Takes that chicane also very well now, coming down into this hairpin. Taking the apex of that hairpin very, very well here as we now come down onto this final straight. Yeah, Thor, I remember you had obviously the issues with your wheel during qualifying, obviously crashing into the wall, not what we wanted to see. Hopefully we can get that sorted by next week. Now we come down into this final chicane here, down through the wall of champions. That does not look to be on the track. That is an invalidated lap there from Egon.
Oh, that is a shame. That was a good
Would
lap.
not have been enough to save him either with a 1:12.9 there anyway. Here you've got Ethan in this Red Bull looking to set himself another very quick time here. Hopefully get himself on to a very good position as he did pull that 1:12 on mediums earlier. It'll be interesting to see if he can beat that with a 1:11 now that he's switched on to these softs in Q2. 1:12 bridging very closely to a 1:11 in mediums is very, very impressive pace here from this Red Bull. How's he going to take the Wall of Champions? He pulls through this chicane. Holds it very, very well, does not lose control of the car. This could be a very, very impressive 1:10/1:11 here. 1:10.8 from Ethan, matching Blazer's time in Q1. We could have a race here on our hands between Alpine and Red Bull tonight.
Red Bull pole again.
Red Bull currently sat in pole here with Ethan setting that 1:10.8. Will be interesting to see if Blazer pushes himself in Q3 to try and beat that, as we do know he does have the pace here. Push through and get pole here, but as it stands, very, very quick times here from Moggs now setting a 1:11, all very close to bridging that 1:10. We've got a lot of very quick drivers on the grid here today. This could be very, very interesting to see how they manage to go when we actually get into race conditions and have to worry about obviously things like slipstreaming, DRS, tyre management, brake management, just the weather, as unpredictable as it can be here in the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. There could be so many issues for these drivers here tonight. Not many invalidated laps though, which is a big change from last night. We had a lot of problems here coming through Q2 with Wall of Champions, just writing off so many laps here. But right now we have Destroyer, Shady, Egon and Crunchy all looking to go out here on Q2. Destroyer is going very, very slowly here. What is going on here with his car? Is he very low on fuel or what? It's looking like, oh, maybe he's just keeping himself nice and slow. He's just coming down into, oh, hello, picking up the pace here now. I mean, his next lap's invalidated. I don't know why he's pushing this car so hard. What's he got in here? His next lap's invalidated and his car is absolutely low on fuel. I don't know what he's trying to push here. Could this be a mistake here from Destroyer? Obviously the track in the bottom right is coming up as red. I'll see if I can turn down the engine for you a little bit, John. Hold up. How are we doing now for sound, fellas? Are we a bit louder in the game now? Just tweaking the settings a little bit.
No, Harry Dwarf is just as a fast driver.
Harry Dwarf is very
fast
in this Ferrari. I don't know why Destroyer is pushing this car so hard. Because in the bottom right, it's showing his race as looking invalidated. But oh no, he's going into the pits here. I don't know why I pushed that car round an extra lap. There didn't seem to be any reason for him to do that there. Just wearing out these softs more so than he had to. Have a look at Harry here as he comes round, shaving 0.2 off of his previous 1:11.5 as he come down here through Sector 3. Does manage to hold it through the Wall of Champions. Just about bumps the wall, but it could be enough possibly to hold him through as he might push through for a 1:10 here. 1:11.2. He's quicker. Pushes himself into P4 now. Taking over Desbro in the McLaren, who had previously held that position and was at one point initially in P2 here. Looking at the front line with Ethan and Blazer, very, very quick. Ethan saying he thinks he can go faster. What time could we expect to see here from Ethan? Possibly a 1:10.5?
And that Wall of Champions is just, it's something else.
The Wall of Champions, especially later on in the race when them tyres are so worn, it's so hard to hold that car through that turn. Gonna pick up Crunchy here on his out lap. Let's see if he can manage to get himself very, very quick here as he's looking to go out in Q2 right now with only a minute to go. Does he have enough to save himself in this Alfa Romeo here today? I agree, Thor. There are some very, very quick times here tonight. We could have a very, very interesting race on our hands. We'll have to see, obviously, how they manage it as we do start the race. Now picking up Crunchy here as he does go down through the first chicane in Sector 1. Holds it very, very well here. Coming down through the straight, now moving on to the second chicane here in Sector 1. Currently sat on a 15-second Sector 1 with very, very impressive pace here. Saves off 0.0 seconds. It's not looking great for him to get out of this current position where he could be potentially knocked out here in Q2. Okay. Can he push this Alfa Romeo in the back end of this lap and push himself into a position where he needs to be in order to get himself into Q3? Just very quickly going to have to plug in a controller charger as my batteries are low. Give me 2 seconds, guys.
No problem.
Hopefully it doesn't pick up any feedback noise. I don't see why it would, but obviously...
Is that a purple sector too?
Very, very
for
interesting.
Crunchy Bear.
Does he have enough here to push this through in Sector 3, get himself into the safety zone here? Can Crunchy do it here?
Lights out.
Take full Wall of Champions with a relatively good speed here. 107, 108, 109, 110. It might not be enough here as he comes through. 111.8. Just misses out.
No.
That's got to hurt. That's got to hurt for you here, Crunchy, tonight as you go out in Q2. But very, very impressive for you to manage to pull that back in the latter end of that Q2 there. Not setting a very good Sector 1. I think that's where you have, unfortunately, bit yourself. But that is very, very good from him towards the latter end. Just plugging in the wire now, boys. If you do hear some buzzing, I do apologise. I don't believe you will, though. We'll see.
Into P8.
Hello.
Pushes himself into the top 10 for Q3.
I'm not hearing any buzzing on the stream. That's a good sign. That's very unfortunate for Crunchy. Just missing out on going into Q3 here. 12th. Someone has jumped above him as well. Looks like someone else. Let's see who's going out here as we go through into Q3. Missing out with Slim, Destroy, Crunchy and Ipswich. Ipswich missing out by 0.006 milliseconds. That's got to hurt. Arash coming through late with that 111.6 on the Alpine, just shredding Ipswich out of Q3. Both Red Bulls still going very, very strong here. I'm trying to see what other teams we have. Red Bull obviously staying in. We have both Alpines just about breaking through. We've obviously lost a Ferrari. Just about lost an Aston Martin with Ipswich, which really, really has to hurt coming through. Going through right there, setting a time that you thought might have just saved him. But Arash coming through as the underdog, pulling him out, taking away that Q3 from him here today. It'll be interesting to see what we can see here coming through. Who's going to look to set pole?
Alright, well, Q3 is where it all matters.
I was about to say, this is the point it all comes down to. See who we get come first out of the pit, see if anyone decides to come out earlier, if they decide to wait, see if the track conditions do get any better. We do have a very, very nice sunny day here on qualifying. Optimal conditions to be racing in. Be interesting to see what kind of speeds we can see here coming out through Q3. Looking like the Red Bull of Ethan is first out. Nope, John just in front of him. It looks to be the Haas of FTR Morg setting the first lap. Will be interesting to see what kind of speed he can push here, as he did manage to get himself into the top 4 in Q2 with this Haas, pushing it to its limits. Does Mogs have what it takes to push this car through and get himself onto pole coming through in Q3 here?
I would like to see maybe a 10.5.
10.5 could be what we see. Honestly, we've seen some very, very quick 110s here. I think Ethan did say he can push his car quicker than he has so far, which is impressive considering he did top out Q2 a minute ago. I'd like to see what he can do himself here.
Let's hope the safety cars also stays to a minimum.
Coming around here on this hairpin, looking to start up his first hot lap of Q3. Does he have it in him to push himself for a very impressive time here in this Haas? I'd like to see him at the very least push into that top 5 with the speeds he was setting himself in Q2. Very, very quick in this Haas here today. Obviously keep an eye on Ethan, who is just behind him as well, setting the fastest time in Q2. We'll make sure we keep a close eye on both of these drivers here today, as they are both setting incredible, incredible times. Coming round sector 1. Oh, Moggs has span out and lost his wing.
Oh no!
That could bite him badly here in Q3, sorry, as we come now with Ethan, who is flying around with a 23.2. Not the quickest we've seen from him here today, but obviously with Moggs jumping in front of him, this could just kill this hot lap. I reckon he's just going to take it nice and slow, not popping his ERS. It looks like Ethan's just going to take this one back around and give it another go. And it's a shame to see that from Moggs. Let's go have a look at his car and see how it's doing. Completely obliterated his front wing here. Just letting everyone fly by on their hot laps. It's a shame to see. He's been setting some very, very quick times here. What on earth?
Yeah, no, definitely.
He's lost it just on that chicane coming through sector 1. Still can't get hold of this car. Just going to let that other car fly by in the Ferrari, which looks to be the Ferrari
laser
of
guns,
its hairy
what can he do?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate spin out there, but sometimes it happens.
Oh, Blazer Guns takes it well.
See what time Blazer can set here today as he just comes down through the final 1:10.5 from
10.5.
Blazer. This
Oh
lap
my
from Ethan
goodness.
is just going to be, here it goes. This looks to be the lap where he pushes that ERS and looks to set himself a lap. Can we see Ethan beat Blazer, as he is very, very quick here today in this Red Bull 1:10.5. Very, very impressive driving there from LR Blazer Guns.
That's a very, very good time. It's a second up from P2. That's incredible.
Yeah, John, apparently there is rain potentially hitting later on in this race. Hopefully we don't see any situation like yesterday with the rain just trickling down for about 10-15 laps. It was so slow to really kick up. People went onto the intermediates too early, made that mistake, and it did cost them heavy places. But we also had a couple of drivers pick up the inters a bit too late as well, dropping from P1 and P2 into DNFing and also missing out on points. It'll be interesting to see how these drivers control their tyre management here, see whereabouts we decide to swap onto the inters / wets depending on how bad it gets, and see if we can see out this race, hopefully with no DNFs. That would be ideal. We don't want to see a dirty race. Many safety cars last night. We want to see some nice clean racing here today.
Definitely.
Very, very good racing, very quick times, very quick straights, side to side going through these chicanes. I'd like to see some very, very good racing here today. Ethan coming through the 1:10.8. He said he can push quicker. It's interesting to see he set the same time here. Has Ethan got it in his locker to push this Red Bull further and get into that pole position that Blazer is currently holding here with the 1:10.5? Ferrari of Hairy Dwarf here as he's invalidated this lap. Egon also invalidating the same lap. Desbro is not invalidated though, as he's just starting off his hot lap here, coming round through the first chicane, holding speed pretty well. Hits that second chicane with a very impressive amount of speed here too. Holds the speed, setting a 19.9 again in sector 1. A very impressive start from Desbro. Well. Coming down this straight now in sector 2. He's holding his speed to an impressive degree here. Yellow flag in the hairpin, as it seems like Ethan is just taking his car down through into the pits here, setting obviously as it stands in the front line with a 1:10.8. Can we see Des perform an upset here and take that spot off of him? 42.4 coming through sector 2, good speed. If he can hold this pace coming through into sector 3, we could see an upset, as Des could potentially take himself into the front line here and take Ethan out with that still very impressive 1:10.8.
It's still definitely very, very fast.
We've got Stars Orphan here rooting for his McLaren teammate as Des comes down through here into the Wall of Champions, takes the chicane very, very well. I don't think it's enough for him to push into the 110s though. I think this is going to be a 111. I could be wrong. 111.1, just missing out.
P3, very, very good.
P3 is very, very impressive, but just missing out on that front line. Very good racing there from the McLaren here today though. What else have we got coming through? As we see Hairy Dwarf set a 1:11.4, pushing himself into P5. Can we see him take over Bradshaw or Des and push later up into them spots? Got a car completely stopped here that seems to be the car of... It was Arash who looks to have pulled over. Did he see any wing damage potentially? Let's have a look. Oh, leaving that wall very close. It's looking like Arash might have some damage here. car does seem to be struggling with steering a little bit. I don't know if that is just the way he is driving or if his car does have any damage, but it'll be interesting to see how he takes this Alpine here. See if he can join his teammate up in the grid. Obviously just scraping through into Q3 by 0.006 milliseconds is very, very impressive to get that hunger in and to pull through. Does he have enough here now to push himself higher up the grid? This is just his out lap, so hence why he is most likely taking this slow. Interesting to see if he can pull himself further up. 1:12.11 is putting him in 7th right now, but Egon, Moggs and Immortal yet to set a lap. Immortal obviously very good racing, but we have Moggs here coming through with a 1:11.8, not the speed he was holding at all coming through Q2. That's that wing damage done a lot to his car and confidence. This could be a problem here for him today as he's looking to sit 7th is a respectable position. He knows he can push that car a lot faster than he is right now. We're seeing a lot quicker times running through Q2, but we'll have to see plus 3 seconds, plus 0.3 seconds there. It's looking like he's just going to get this car into the pits with 11% on his ERS here today. See if Egon invalidated yet another lap here. This could just be his out lap though, so we'll have to see how this goes. Yeah, this is looking like an out lap here from Egon, just about to start his flying lap in this Red Bull. Can we see him join Ethan in the higher end of today's pack? Just crossing the line here, coming through the first chicane. Let's see how he takes it. Holds his speed pretty well through both turns here as he's now coming down through Sector 1. Very, very quick racing here from the Red Bull. It'll be interesting to see if he can rival his teammate Ethan for that 2nd place, possibly 1st place. See if we can get ourselves a double Red Bull front line. 19.9 is not bad speed at all here today.
Alonso, purple sector 2.
Alonso very, very quickly there in that Alpine as we just go back here down through to Egon, who is taking sector 2 pretty quickly here. What's his time going to be coming through sector 2? He loses a bit of pace there for some reason. Don't know what's going on with Egon here. His car seems to have lost some power or something. I don't know what's going on here today with Egon. I don't know if he's out of fuel or...
P9, what's happening?
Don't know what's happened with Egon here. Lost a lot of pace there coming down through what was a relatively quick hot lap, all things considered. That could be a shame for him here today. It would be interesting to see if he can push up because Q9 is not where he wants to be here today. Still setting a lap time here though. It's going to be around a 1:15, which is not obviously where he wants to be. 1:16 here from Egon. He needs to pick up that pace here today. Got Immortal here though on a hot lap, setting a 20 here, coming through 31, 32, 33, just coming around this chicane now in sector 2, holding that pace in the Alpha Tauri to a relatively impressive degree. Looks like he's going to get himself a 42-second sector 2 here. 42.5 on sector 2, now coming around this hairpin, going into sector 3. Do we see the Alpha Tauri push into the top half of the paddock, push maybe into at least P5? 4 seconds now as he comes down this straight, heading down into the Wall of Champions. It'll be interesting to see how he takes this corner, as this Wall of Champions could make or break this lap for him here today. Slows down very early there, still holds the car very well though. It's looking like that is going to be a 1:11. 1:11.5 does push Immortal into P7. Some quick times here. We're going to need to see Egon pick up that pace though. That is very, very not impressive here from him here today.
Out of ERS.
Oh yeah, that lack of ERS is going to kill him here on this lap, but he has shaved 2 seconds off. Obviously it's not going to be a very impressive, it's going to be like a 1:30. Oh, bumps the wall as well. Egon is not having a good day here in this Red Bull as he comes through with a 1:11.6, still very impressive. Very impressive, but he could push this car a lot harder, especially running out of ERS and also having the issues with connecting to that wall just out of the Wall of Champions. Here we have Desbro just about to pick up with his 3-lap strong softs. It's looking like he's probably going to go into the pits here. See if anyone's coming through on fresh tyres. We've got pick up Blazer here, who is currently in provisional pole. Has just slightly slower sector 1 here than his previous, but can we see Blazer pull out a very, very late sector 2 and sector 3 comeback and improve his lead on Ethan? He's going to look to fight for that pole position here in this Red Bull that he has talked so much about being faster than what he's putting out. This lap's looking very, very close to the 1:10.5 that Blazer has put out. Very, very consistent driving here from him today, only missing out on 0.05 seconds from his initial lap. If he just takes this Wall of Champions slightly better, we could see an improvement here from Blazer here today as he comes round down into the chicane right now. How's he going to hold it through the Wall of Champions? takes the chicane very well, does not get contact with the wall. Can we see a possible 1:10.19 here as he comes across the line? 1:10.5, just beating his time by 0.05 milliseconds. Just shaving off milliseconds here as we see Ethan come down through as well, shaving off time himself. Does he get himself a 1:10.6 here as we come across the line? 1:10.5 as well, taking Blazer off of pole by 0.002 milliseconds. Ethan is proving us that he can get the very, very best out of his Red Bull.
P3.
P3 for Moggs now. Ethan's talked the talk, and right now he is walking the walk. Pole here for Ethan today in this Red Bull. Take a bow. Very, very good racing
of a second.
Very, very impressive from you, Ethan. Right at the brink. He's talked the talk, and right now he is walking all of that walk. Well done. Pole here today for the Red Bull.
Man, that is...
What an upset there from Blazer, who was doing so well, even improved upon... Oh, he hang about! Blazer shaving 0.1 seconds off his time here. We could see a 1:10.3 as Blazer comes through Wall of Champions here. Does Blazer possibly pull off the upset again?
No! Oh, laser guns, no!
Oh, Blazer, that's gotta hurt. He'd saved 0.1 seconds coming down the final straight to the Wall of Champions. Would have put him into pole. That's gonna hurt. That is so unfortunate here from Blazer today. Here we have Moggs just coming down. Obviously, this is just a chill lap, 11 seconds behind. This is fine. Can we see a potential upset here from Nifty? And also the McLaren is done. So it's just Nifty here coming down, looking to set an impressive time here. Comes through with a 1:11 on the dot, pushes himself up to P5. Last out is Moggs, who is just driving into the pits now. So that is Q3 as it stands. Ethan and Blazer in the front line, with Ethan taking pole.
I can just imagine how Blazer guns feels now.
I will be letting you handle the formation lap while I go get myself a drink. So, by all means, when we get to that point, feel free to take it away.
No problem at all. Oh, man, that is unfortunate. Well, there you have it. P1, Ethan. P2, Blazer guns. By only 0.02 of a second. That is... that is insane. That's absolutely insane. P3, Moggs. Very, very good sign. Bradshaw in P4. Nifty. Despro P6. Alonso. It's Harry Dwarf in P8, Immortal, and then Egon in 10th. This is going to be a very, very exciting race. Very, very exciting indeed. Ah, 0.02 of a second. That's unbelievable. That is absolutely unbelievable. All right, race time. Oh, and we start off with rain, ladies and gentlemen.
Very interesting.
Oh, this is going to be exciting.
That is heavy as well. This track is absolutely drenched here today.
That's not intermediates. Yeah, that's full weights.
Yeah, I can't see anyone here getting particularly quick time. Sadly, coming through with the wet. This is not what we wanted to see off the start. Oh my word.
This is going to be a game changer.
This is the unpredictable weather you get with Canada, though.
Definitely.
Oh my.
Canadian weather. Oh my goodness.
What on earth are we going to see here today? This could be a very, very manic first turn. With the amount of water that is picked up on this track, there could be a lot of safety cars here today if we don't see people manage these cars with the maturity that we should be seeing here in Division 3. I'd like to see what Ethan can do with this Red Bull, just shaping up with them 0.02 of a second, just beating the Alpine in P2. Very, very close front line here. It'll be interesting to see how those two boys battle as we go through into the latter points of today's race. Be interested to see if the rain clears up later on as well and allows people to potentially switch on to obviously
Slicks,
not
yeah.
wets or inters, and see if we can obviously push through and get some quick times here today and possibly some upsets depending on tyre management. We'll see how it goes. The fans above the paddock having a fantastic time as we just wait for our race to kick off today.
I think I just wondered what setups are they gonna run.
Ooh, that could be
Gonna be
interesting.
dry
The
setups.
I think we'll see a couple of the drivers towards the front of the pack pick up these custom setups for the wet. Ethan is not a fan of the rain. That could potentially ruin his chances here tonight, as obviously Canada is such a tough track already with how hard you have to be braking. The second you add water into that situation, the cars become just so unpredictable around all of these chicanes and down through that wall of champions. We could see a lot of penalties in the early doors here, which could completely jeopardise some people's races here today. I'd like to see some very, very interesting racing here from both Red Bulls of Ethan and Egon. Egon just getting by through Q3, setting some relatively okay times, but I feel like he should and will possibly pull that Red Bull out and push it further than he has been so far. Hairy Dwarf setting relatively fast times as well in that Ferrari coming through qualifying 3. I'd like to see him push that Ferrari into the possible podium positions. We've had some very, very quick driving from the Haas today as well. There's a very quick drivers here on today's grid. I think we're in for an exciting race regardless of who wins. What do we reckon? Safety cars? I think we'll see a couple.
Well, with the rain now, I don't want to.
I think we'll see a couple.
But yeah, I especially with the rain.
I thought we would have seen more if the rain had kicked up midway through the race, but seeing as it is here from the start, with these tyres not being as warm as you'd like them to be, especially if we do see someone DSQ themselves from the induction of the opening lap here, starting on cold tyres could really hurt some of these drivers today. We'll have to see how that goes. Just waiting for a couple of people to work on these setups here now. These conditions are horrible. It's about what we were looking at towards the end of yesterday's race, which caused so many issues for some drivers. Shout out to Yui, by the way, who picked up 20 seconds worth of penalties. Did push
20 seconds?
20 seconds. Did push himself from last into second, but then penalties pulled him back down the grid. Not a single driver yesterday without picking up penalties. Jake, unfortunate to pick some up towards the end, but that 3 seconds was not enough to stop him picking up his first RSF1 title of the season. It'll be interesting to see how he pushes himself through Division 5 now, with SDK dropping into the higher up divisions. Do we possibly see Jake now as a potential favourite for Division 5? Obviously, you're going to be biased as you're in Division 5 yourself, but there are some very quick races down there. It'll be interesting to see what we can do. Egon leaving the session here.
Oh, wow.
Don't know what's going on there. Maybe just some technical difficulties. Hopefully we manage to see him rejoin before this race kicks off. To be fair, Egon, I would also leave if it was raining. I don't blame you.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
The F1 Paddock Club seems to be getting impatient just above as we're looking at these drivers just standing on the grid, waiting around, ready to start.
I'm also looking at them now. A few of them clapping hands.
A couple of them clapping, a few shaking their heads. We've got some. The umbrellas are out today as the rain is bad. Here we go. 30 seconds
there we
until the start.
go.
Egon is back. I will let you take over for the induction lap here, as I just have a nice drink. Not sponsored by Diet Coke. However, if you guys would like to sponsor, would not be opposed to it.
Well, I don't have Diet Coke yet. I have normal Coke.
Oh, okay. I
But
like
to
it.
each their own.
Do you know what? At least it's not Coke Zero. Let's just agree on that one. Here you go, mate. This is all you.
Alright, formation lap. P1 is Ethan. Off. Behind him, Blazer Guns. P3, Morgs. Bradshaw on P4, Nifty. P5, Despro just behind him. Alonso, it's Harry Dwarf in P8. Immortal P9 and Egon rounding off the top 10. P11 IP Switch in 12, Crunchy Bear, Only Destroyer in P40, 13, and Slim Shady finishing off the grid. Already have a spin on the formation lap, unfortunately.
On the formation
Luckily,
lap,
it's not. Luckily, it's not a race as yet.
Shady just trying to warm up these inters here on the Williams. Do we have anyone here coming through with the wets? Let's just have a look in the spectator menu. We do obviously have Ipswich coming through with the wets in this Aston Martin. We do have a couple of people on these inters though here today. Have a look at some tyres. Ipswich, the only one choosing to come out here on wets. Very, very interesting. It'll be interesting to see if that is going to help him or hinder him here today. There is heavy rain, but are these wets going to give him that advantage in the Aston Martin today?
Ethan in chat says, don't expect anything. I hate rain. Yeah, well.
I don't think any of us enjoy the rain when we're racing, mate.
Definitely not. But if he can get away fast enough, create a gap.
Interesting strategy here from Ipswich being the only driver on the grid to come through with the wet tyres today. What do you think about this decision here?
Oh my goodness, I haven't even looked at the tyres. Yeah, the only one. Well, it can go either good or bad.
Yeah.
Because it looks very wet out there. Really. It looks very wet.
It depends on how skilled these drivers are, though, with these inters as we now pull up to the grid ready to go.
Alright, let's see what can happen.
Ethan and Blazer will be interested to see how these two battle it out coming through into these first couple of turns.
That's one. Come on, come on. 3, 4, 5 red lights. And
it's lights out and away we go. Mog's already picking up a drive penalty, as is Blazer. Awful start from Blazer, picking up that penalty, potentially hindering his race here today as Ethan comes through.
Penalties, no!
Drive-throughs from both third and first here could be very detrimental. A lot of action towards the back of the pack. Looks like Ethan might get taken here by Moggs, who still has that penalty. Does Moggs have it in it to take past Ethan here? Ethan just manages to hold him. Very, very close drive here from these, as Bradshaw does look to be coming up towards the back of the pack. Now Desbro having a bit of contact there from Nifty. Nasri giving some contact to Desbro there, not showing any love. I think Des returning the receipts with another nudge into his back. The middle of the pack here is getting very, very heated. Nasri now pushing up behind this Aston Martin, pushing towards position 4 here. Does he have enough to take him on the straight? Takes him on the straight, moving himself into P4. Some very, very good driving here from Nasri so far. Someone just choosing to completely ignore the chicane there with Ethan. Does not pick up a penalty for it. Nasri coming down in the inside of Ethan, moving himself into P3. Some very, very fast driving here from this Mercedes.
Oh my goodness.
And they take on the Haas here of Moggs. He comes down through this hairpin. Very, very good starting lap here from Nifty Nasri. What a drive here so far from Nasri. Dwarf just getting the double overtake, moving from P10 to P9, dropping a place now to Alonso. Let's have a look at Des and see how his race is going, as he is just behind this Aston Martin of Ipswich. Can he take on both Aston Martins? He tends to push through on this Wall of Champions here. Holds his speed well. Looks like he's going to get by the Aston Martin on this straight. Do the wets have enough to hold him off? The wets do look to be holding him. The wets are holding him back here. Does he have enough though to get past the wets?
Inside. No.
The wet tyres of Tekkas do look to be holding down his pace though. I think Des will look to push past him here. Interesting strategy to start with the rain. Have a look at Ipswich here now on these wets. Does look to be gaining distance here on Des, and also chasing down his teammate in the other Aston Martin. Interesting strategy that looks to be paying off for him so far with these wets, gaining a lot of places. Arash just dropping down to Immortal in the back of the end of the points here. The wet tyres here look to be catching on to Bradshaw.
Definitely. It's very, very wet iron track. You can see a lot of puddles on track.
Yeah.
So I honestly personally think the wet tyres was the right...
Leaving it very close to his teammate here. There's going to be some contact if he's not careful. That looks to be contact on his own teammate. Oh, spin out from Ethan. Gives Ipswich the 2-race lead here as he now pushes himself into P4. What an error from Ethan as he drops down.
That?
That is devastating from Ethan. Spins out on the hairpin, giving space to Ipswich now, who looks to chase down Nasri. Moggs going into the pit, I assume to serve his drive-through penalty here. Possibly to swap onto the wets, but I can't see that being the case. Ipswich now takes Des, moving into P3. Getting himself onto the podium. What a race this is so far from him in these wets here today. These wets are proving so strong for him so far. Absolutely flying up the grid right now.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Ethan. Oh,
what a shame for Ethan dropping down into P14. He did say he didn't like the rain, but that's not what I expected to see. Here we have Hairy Dwarf pushing up behind Aston Martin and McLaren of Bradshaw and Des respectively. Just seems to be getting away from him here though, as it all knows saying that, as he does seem to be catching them a little bit here, coming through into the start of Sector 2. Ipswich looks to be chasing down Nasri here as well. There's obviously holding it off very nicely. Immortal very close to this Ferrari of Dwarf. Is he going to look to push through the overtake here? Looks like he's going to get him on the inside as he comes round. Oh, doesn't leave him any space. Connection of wheels. That could have been bad there, as contact between Immortal and Hairy touching tyres does not go well as Arash looks to overtake here. Arash now looking to go down onto these two. Bradshaw looking to get the advantage on Des as Nifty gets overtaken by Ipswich into P2. Ipswich taking it back off of Nasri, now going back down into P3.
Using all that your is. He's
That
going
was
to take her on the inside.
Silly move there. Oh, here we come through with Ipswich. Now these wets are just too fast here today. Ipswich is absolutely flying. Now Blazer serving his penalty. Is that going to be a penalty? Nasri has left the session. Ipswich is flying here today. Now putting himself into P1 now that he's served that drive-through penalty. Ipswich is absolutely cooking it today here on these wet tyres. Oh, but here we have Des just pushing up just behind him in this McLaren. Does he have the speed here?
Honestly, he did the perfect strategy.
The wets are looking to be impressive now as we have wheel-to-wheel action here going through in P3 and P4 as Nifty Nasri and Bradshaw are both battling towards that podium spot here. We have an overtake from Immortal who's just flying in this Alpha Tauri right now, looking to gain places here. Is that going to be contact? That is contact on the Ferrari as he does brake way too late. Immortal, very silly decision, braking as late as he does there today. He looks to just rear-end Dwarf, which is not what we wanted to see. The rain is causing problems as Crunchy is now looking at this Alpine. Looking to climb up the points here is this Alfa Romeo as he takes on the... It looks like he might take the inside here of the Alpine. Very poor turns, puts Crunchy into P8. Going to have a look at Bradshaw now, who does look like he is going to make a move here on this hairpin, possibly push himself into the podium. Nasri holding very well. Ipswich is flying away in these wets. He's having such a good race so far.
Oh, Ipswich is making a gap.
Yeah, them wets are really pushing hard here today. Very smart decision to go onto those. Bradshaw is gaining ground on this Mercedes of Nifty Nasri 8. Is he going to manage to catch him before we go into the next lap? It does not look like it. Moving down, we've got Destroyer in the low parts of the points coming through. Possibly going to give Arash a battle for his money here. Moving very quickly.
Ethan into the pits.
Bad start from Ethan, having to now serve a penalty that he also picked up. This is not going very well for him in the rain here today. Very interesting to see this Bradshaw fight.
Going onto the wet tyre.
What a fight we're having here between Bradshaw and Nasri. Ethan switching onto the wets will be very interesting to see if he can start climbing his way up the points there.
Despro's sticking.
Desbro is
right on the gearbox
track with this McLaren. I think we might see an overtake from Bradshaw here now on Nasri. What a battle we're having here today towards that final podium space as Bradshaw in the Aston Martin is just constantly getting held off by this Mercedes of Nasri. Is he going to take him here on this? Oh, he's holding him still very well. But here we have, this fight's not going to do him any favours as we now have Dwarf coming up behind both of them, looking to potentially make a move in this Ferrari, looking for potentially a double overtake here as he goes to dive from the inside. Very close, leaving him no space whatsoever. Not a very smart move there from Dwarf. I don't think he's been left much space, but I think that was quite a silly move. Immortal might look to take up on that mistake from Dwarf now, who left himself no space, going for the inside overtake that just was not on. He's looking like this Alpha Tauri might take him here on the outside. He's going to have to brake here. Be careful, there could be wheel-on-wheel contact here as we come through. Slows down to allow Hairy Dwarf to get by.
Burning through that ERS.
Now we have a warning from Destroyer, which could drop him out of the points here in that Ferrari later on towards this wreck. Let's see what we can get from Alpha Tauri here. As there could be, just missing out contact. Hairy Dwarf is not giving anyone any space here today.
None at all, man. None at all.
Very defensive driver here. We've got Slim Shady, who has now DNF'd himself, unfortunately.
Oh, unfortunately, yeah.
That's looking like it's going to be a safety car here today. There'll be a good chance for Ethan to catch up on those wet tyres and see if he can pull himself up the grid, because he has that pace and he's shown he's had that speed. These wet tyres could help him here. How many races do you reckon we'll see box onto the wets under safety car?
Ooh. Well, we see how the wet tyres are managing this track, so I will go for it.
Des, by the way, just pointing out, has overtaken Ipswich in the meantime and is now in P1.
Ooh.
Them wets are really, really helping Ipswich, having a fantastic race so far, absolutely flying up the grid on those tyres. It'll be interesting to see if anyone else does decide to make that move as well.
Definitely, I mean, IP Switch is up 9 positions.
Switch has climbed.
That's unbelievable.
I do think the crash from Ethan early on did obviously help that respectively. However, Des choosing not to go onto the wets here under the safety car.
Oh.
Doesn't look like we're seeing many pits here actually. We do see a pit here though from Destroyer, who looks like he's also going to go onto the wets alongside, I assume Blazer is probably going to switch them here as well. Have to see what he does here. Blazer pulls into the pits. Nope, going on to another set of inters.
Oh. I would just love to talk to the engineer to know how the weather conditions will be for the next few minutes.
Destroyer also sticking to those inters here. We're not seeing anyone swap onto the wets today so far. Des tailing this Aston Martin safety car here as we see Ipswich just behind him. We'll be interested to see, going to be watching Ipswich on this Aston as the safety car goes in, see if Des manages to pull away. Be interested to see when the safety car goes in if Des does manage to pull away on those inters, but the grip of Ipswich's wets might give him the advantage. It depends on how and if Des manages to catch him off guard when the safety car goes in.
There's a lot of IP Switch fans in chat.
Yeah, Ipswich is having a fantastic race here. Obviously, very, very impressive. Understandable that a lot of you are cheering for Ipswich here. He's having a very, very good race so far. Obviously, climbing up 9 places in the grid so far. Was in the podium spot of P1 earlier. Has since dropped out just before the safety car came through. Oh, losing his car very, very closely there. Ipswich, what are you doing? Just keep it simple. That could have been devastating for the boy in the Aston Martin here today. What on earth have I just seen? Oh my word. Great recovery, however, what is he doing?
Oh.
Looks like we have someone going into the pits here. Looks like Destroyer, who's already gone into the pits once. Is he trying to swap onto those wets?
Let's see what he does, and it is.
I don't understand. Oh, he lost a wing. It must have seemed during the safety car. Very, very disappointing there from the Ferrari, who has just lost himself a fresh set of inters. Ethan also going into the pits here, but has come off of the wet tyres. Interestingly, has gone onto inters here today. Let's see if Star's teammate Desbro obviously can push this McLaren to its limits. Be interesting to see if Ipswich, who still is the only racer on this grid here with the wets, can hold that grip down on these tyres and get the advantage of Des as this safety car pulls in. I do believe the safety car will be going in this lap, however I could be wrong, we'll have to see. Be careful warming up those tyres, Ipswich. Did not go well for you on the last lap.
I don't see any sunshine in the future of this race, to be honest with you. Oh, Desbro into the
here
wall.
it is. Into the safety car in this lap. Here it comes. This is the part we're waiting for. Do we see the Aston Martin catch the McLaren, or does the McLaren pull away with Desbro setting very, very quick speed throughout qualifying? We know he has the pace. Ipswich was nowhere to be seen during qualifying in terms of the higher up areas of the pack, obviously setting himself very, very low down, but claiming a very, very impressive area. Did not make it into Q3.
Let's see when Desbro decides to go.
Des accelerates there, 1, 2, 5. It's looking like he's going to accelerate out of the chicane here.
No, not yet.
Oh, no, here he is. ERS is live. Here we go. Aston Martin is sticking to him, holding. Oh no, does seem to be pulling away here.
He was not sleeping.
Ooh.
Oh!
Very, very close here. We have Nasri just pushing up behind the two here. Nasri has been a quiet little sleeper during this race, but has had a very, very impressive running, capitalising off of Ethan's mistake earlier on.
The inside, no.
Ipswich just unlucky to catch the McLaren there, as we're just going to keep an eye on him as he does look to be chasing down Des, breathing down his neck. Does he have one? Oh, contact there as Des looks to slow down after just narrowly avoiding crashing into the wall. Ipswich needs to be really careful here.
Looks incredible.
These Des Pro's going nowhere. Ipswich is breathing down his neck as Ethan drops down into 13th. Des picking up that position. We have Bradshaw breathing down Nasri's neck here as well as we go through here. Ipswich looking to take this. Oh, very, very close. Ipswich is fighting Des Pro very, very well here. Moving down the road. Mortal making a big move here as well. Moving down a little bit. Here comes Ipswich again round the hairpin. Is he going to try and take the move on him here? Oh, very close to making contact again.
See what he can do on this straight.
Des Pro holding off Ipswich for now on these wets, but it's looking like the wets do have the grip advantage to be able to catch him. Does not look like Des. Des is... I don't think he's going to get away here.
Oh, Egon and Crunchy Bear. Oh, into the wall.
Oh no, Immortal picking up a 3-second time penalty here. Looks to be like he's lost his wing, but I could be wrong there. Let me just check the camera. No, has his wing still intact.
Is off.
Egon is in the pits getting himself a new wing as we go through the middle of the pack. Looks to be where all the action is at right now. Crunchy just picking up 2 positions, moving himself into P7. Arash also picking up places into P8. We have Blazer, who obviously set such quick times, coming through. Destroyer just hot on him though, going side to side, wheel to wheel, contact with the Ferrari. That's a bump from Destroyer. That looks like a bump from Destroyer as he goes to bump Blazer off the track there.
Into the wall.
Destroyer with some dirty racing there. Looks to be dirty racing here again as he goes past this Alpine. What is Destroyer doing here? Very, very dirty race from him today.
Another safety car.
Another safety car here. Destroyer really needs to stop being such a dirty racer here. He's been hitting people all through these overtakes. Let's see if he keeps that up going through. Come on, boys. Let's race cleanly. We don't want to see any safety cars here today. We want to keep it nice and clean. Ipswich looks to be lagging really badly here as he's now just dropped a place to Nasri. Interesting there. Very unfortunate. He's just teleported off the track, giving space to Nasri.
Yeah, I saw that.
That he's not going to appreciate that from his connection or EA at all. The circuit Gilles Villeneuve is always one for excitement though here, and this is showing 2 safety cars in the first 10 laps. I think it's drying out a little bit, Stars. I don't think it's dry enough to be at the point where... Oh, couple of moves here as people are going into the pits. We now have Arash and Moggs climbing up the points. After
a lot of people going into the pits.
I think we're seeing a lot of people have been on these inters pretty much from the start, wanting to move onto fresh tyres.
Blazer Guns definitely needed a new wing there.
Ethan's apparently just received contact from a driver. I'm not sure who it is. Ethan has received contact yet again. Not having a very good race here, constantly getting berated by other drivers here.
That's unfortunate, man. The 2 front runners
here today.
Currently
very dirty driver.
In the 2 large places.
I know, very, very interesting. I think we need to keep an eye on Destroyer, who seems to be making a lot of very, very aggressive plays here in this race and is looking to just make contact with people pretty much on every overtake. It'll be interesting to see if he picks up any form of punishment from this later on after the race, as these actions do, in fact, get reviewed.
Indeed, definitely.
Because this is very, very dirty from him here tonight in this Ferrari.
Oh wait, that was only a VFC.
Yeah, the virtual safety car has gone in. Here we have Desbro just flying down here, looking like we have pretty much all of the top 8 not deciding to pit yet, which could prove very, very interesting later on. Obviously a big lead right now between them and the back runners. See what we've got here coming through as Bradshaw does look to be chasing down his teammate in this Aston Martin. It'll be interesting to see if he does go for the overtake or just lets his teammate have the point advantage so far. Have a good 1 second lead on Dwarf, not allowing him into that position where he can catch them where he'd like to. You have Arash looking
Aston Martin in a very, very good position.
We've got a very, very interesting race going on here so far. Very, very heavy lead in front of Immortal. Guarantees them points unless we see any freak accidents coming on later. But anything can happen here in the circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Canada. Obviously we have ghosting on today, as is, technically speaking, circuit that is a street circuit, so technically I don't understand why it's a street circuit, but
Same.
it is technically like a road that's used day to day, but we'll see. Bradshaw looking to gain speed on his teammate here, coming down into the hairpin. Hopefully we don't see any collisions, or leaving it very, very close with his teammate. Don't want to see any racing incidents with your fellow colleague there. Could write Aston Martin out of this race if he continues to be so aggressive here on Ipswich. He's had a very good race so far on these wets. Speaking of aggressive driving, I'm just going to go have a look at Destroy now. He's 0.2 seconds behind Egon. Is he going to look... Oh, Nasri picking up a 3-second penalty.
Oh,
Dive bombing from Destroyer, but manages to get the overtake here. Destroyer pushing himself into the points, into P10. That penalty could bite him. Nasri closing down this space on Desbro. Crunchy setting a fast lap there. Arash also beating it. Desbro looks to be holding Nasri very well here, which is only going to give Nasri the disadvantage as Ipswich looks to breathe down his neck here and push into that second place on the podium. Destroy taking Egon again as they're having a very good race here for the points.
Oh no, only Destroyer doesn't leave any space.
Yeah, he's been racing very dirty today. Bradshaw looking to take his teammate here. Blaze guns. He could be see a late comeback from him here today as he sets the fastest lap, a 1:22.6 in the wet. Seeing some very interesting racing strategies here from the Aston Martin as he looks to be pushing his teammate again.
I want to say the wets. I don't want to say the wets is starting to go off, but
it looks like it's starting to dry out a bit more to the point where the Inters can prove viable, as it does look like Ipswich has lost a bit of pace. Going very wide, locking up, giving his teammate the podium spot, dropping down. Does he lose his place to Hairy Dwarf here as well? Hairy Dwarf is going to look to capitalise on that. The Aston Martin is starting to look a bit shaky here now. With Nasri's 3 seconds worth of penalties, we do actually have a double Aston Martin podium here as we speak. Blazer picking up a 3-second penalty. What is going on with these front runners in qualifying as they are just dropping down?
Oh, Blazer got 3-second penalty. No.
If we have a look at Crunchy here, who's racing with a good amount of speed, flying with this Alfa Romeo completely out of nowhere. Does he have his number off Hairy Dwarf as he goes to look at these cars? Hairy Dwarf picking up a penalty gives Crunchy the advantage here.
Oh.
Hairy Dwarf is looking to gain places on that Aston Martin here now, though. Oh, who just absolutely flies away from him coming out of that turn. It's not looking like Aegon picking up another penalty here, by the way. Red Bull having an absolute calamity today, dropping out of the points on both cars. Ipswich is absolutely flying away from Hairy Dwarf out of these corners. These wets are still proving very, very grippy, straight out of every apex. Every time I see him come out, he just absolutely zips away from Dwarf here today. These wets are still serving Ipswich very well. It's unfortunate that he had that lock-up as he was holding that podium place for quite a while. Des is just comfortably leading with that 0.6 second advantage here. Here we have Bradshaw though, looking to see if he can make a move here on the Mercedes of Nifty Nasri. Nasri holds him well, leaving him no space on the inside here. What is Bradshaw doing as he just comes down, getting away here from the Ipswich Techers, who is actually now gaining on him in these wets. The wets are still proving to be faster than the Inters as he just gained 0.1 seconds down the final straight. Interesting to see, there's no close gaps as we speak so far between any of these races. It's looking like it's going to be a mistake on a turn that is going to cause an overtake at any point here. Very, very close running between all of the top 6. All within a second.
Oh man, it's so unfortunate. Blazer Guns and Ethan.
I don't know what's happened to the two boys today here as they're just cruising down the back of the track. Destroyer setting the fastest lap so far with a 1:22.6. Just about sitting in the points right now. Nasri is holding. It'll be interesting to see when these top 8 do decide to pit all 14 laps deep on their tyres so far. Guessing we've got Dwarf now looking at Ipswich, who has had his tyres previously lock up on this hairpin. Is Ipswich going to lock up on the hairpin again as Hairy Dwarf looks to put pressure down his neck as he breathes on him very, very aggressively? Does he take him on the inside here? Looks like Dwarf might get the overtake here. Wheel to wheel coming through. Oh, looks like Ipswich just holds him off. Very, very good defending there from Ipswich, who gives him the space on the inside, but he just knows those wets can break away at any point.
Ipswich is drained.
Ipswich's ERS is completely empty now. Hairy Dwarf, this would be your time to make the move as he is beeping. He is very, very low on that ERS. He's about to push it down 2-0. Arash getting an overtake on Moggs here now, who has gone into box, coming off of these 14 lap strong tyres here. Crunchy has now caught up with Dwarf. It's leaving very close between these top 6, all within 0.5 seconds of each other, aside from Ipswich, who looks to gain space with these wets. Very, very fast driving fence there as Crunchy now looks to come up. Oh, another penalty for Blazer, who's just leading the back of the pack. Destroy now pushing, destroying Morgs now coming out through the pits. Very, very interesting to see these two very, very close to each other here.
Oh, Blazer guns. Fun.
Blazer is not having a good race here today. Absolutely draining at the back of the pack here. Just take a look at Nasri, who's just getting completely defended by Dez. What a race Dez is having here today, and this McLaren looks so comfortable in the lead. Not even relatively close to being overtaken at any point here by the Mercedes of Nifty Nasri. We have Bradshaw looking at Nasri, getting held back by Dez.
On the inside.
Does Bradshaw potentially look for a move here on Nasri, who has 90% ERS, both very high up in the ERS situation. Ipswich gaining some, but still very low. Dwarf is going to look to see if he can catch places here. Nasri is looking at gaining space on this McLaren. Can he get enough on this chicane to possibly get an overtake? Very, very close. Dez is holding this so well in the lead right now. Be interesting to see. I would like to see these guys pit within the next 5 laps on these inters. We'll have to see how that goes for them. Obviously, we have Bradshaw looking up just behind these two here, having a very, very good race here in this Aston Martin. Aston Martin in general having a very good race in P3 and P4, neither of which picking up penalties, meaning they are still, technically speaking, both on the podium. As Nasri has, I believe. Let's have a look at the penalties right now. 3 seconds on Nasri, 3 seconds on everyone aside from Destroy and Guns, who both have 6s. That 3-second penalty does mean Nasri is actually not in P2. It does look like he's actually going to be around P6. Unless we see any late penalties further on in this race. Bradshaw is looking at getting a move here on Nasri, who is also trying to move on Dez, but this defence from the McLaren here today is just unmatched.
No, Blazer Guns in the pits, having an absolute...
I can imagine Blazer is talking to his engineers now, complaining about the setup that he's gone for today. I don't know what's going on with this Alpine not having a good day out, but the other Alpine of Arash is doing a very impressive move as Ipswich just takes Harry Dwarf here. Harry Dwarf looks like he's going to be neck and neck with him here as we go through. Down here, coming through, does Harry Dwarf have what it takes to have his number here? Dwarf down into the pits, going in, very smart move. Caught speeding in the pits. Bradshaw, by the way, taking pole as we do see Dez go into the pits here. We have a Aston Martin 1-2 right now, both yet to pit, however. Both yet to pit as we come through. Nasri is still breathing down their neck. Some fresh. Dez has come out of the pits and is still holding a very respectable P7 on fresh inters here now. Does Nasri try to make a move on one of these Aston Martins and try to break up that dynamic duo that has been together for this entire race so far?
Indeed. I must say, Aston is in an incredibly good position.
Yeah, this is, at the moment it looks like it's going to be Aston's race to lose. Obviously they do still have to pit, which could cause some issues for them later on. Crunchy just losing it, coming out of that apex right there. Does he have what it takes though to catch up to Nasri, coming up to this hairpin and possibly take him out of the provisional area of being on the podium? Very, very risky from Ipswich there, who looks like he almost lost his car on the wets. These wets are starting to cause problems for him now. I think he might need to go into the pits sometime soon, have a look at those brakes, because that is the second time he's locked up on that hairpin here today. Let's see what Dez can do here now. Obviously he's in P7.
Into the pits.
Ipswich choosing to stay out on these wets. He started on the wets here today and they have been serving him very, very well.
Locks up again. He's gonna have to come in very soon.
Yeah, he's gonna need to pit probably next lap. Destroy picking up another penalty. All the action happening in the middle of the pack as it looks like we've got a bit of a pit going on here. Dez pushing himself into P5 now. Remember, he's got these fresh inters. He's going to look to breathe on these people ahead of him now and try to push into that position where he can fight for that podium again. We still have all 3 people on the podium looking to pit as Arash sneaks his way into P3. Dez now in P5. We're obviously going to see Immortal probably pit at some point. Bradshaw has not pitted but has just dropped down. I think he decided to just not pit towards the end. I think he bailed out last second. 18 laps strong on these inters.
No, what? He went into the pits.
Nasri also coming in and showing me 18 laps on his inters. It doesn't look like either of them have. Maybe they both have drive-through penalties? Or it could just be an issue on my end. I will just double check that by refreshing.
No,
it.
but it's same for me because Bradshaw definitely went into the pits.
That is very interesting, as it does look like they do seem to be on the same tyres here right now. They're still on those one lap strong tyres. Crunchy looking to make a move here on Ipswich. Ipswich going into the pits does put Crunchy in the Alfa Romeo into P1 here.
Oh, who's Nifty into the
Nasri
wall?
And Ethan is not having a good race here, as
Oh.
he's just ended himself into a wall again. This Red Bull is having issues. Both Red Bulls and both Ferraris not having a fantastic drive here, both pulling towards the back end of the pack. It looks like Arash into the pit does move other people up, like Moggs, who is now pushed into P4. Desbro back into the podium places. 2.2 seconds on Immortal and Crunchy, who both do need to pit still.
IP Switch comes out on another set of wet tires.
Another set of wets from Ipswich. This could be a very interesting strategy. They did serve him so well in the early parts of this race, but do they continue to do so? As it does not look to be as wet as it originally was. I don't think this does prove out worthwhile for him, but we'll have to see how that goes. Here we see Bradshaw just moving through Sector 2 in this Aston Martin. Did not decide to pit, pulled out last minute, which was a very, very interesting decision that he did decide to make here in the Aston Martin. They're in such a good position, however their choice of pit stop is looking to bite them here, as they're in P5 and P8.
IP Switch with his 3-second penalty, no!
Oh, it's starting to be at the point where you start to pick up those penalties towards the mid-area of the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, as we hit lap 20. Only no penalties for 4 drivers out here today, as we have had 3 people DNF, as Rooley, Ethan and Blazergun, both front runners and both in the front line, have retired their cars here today. Crunchy just holding that 8-second lead now, but still does need to pit that car. Bradshaw is going to look to make a move here on Moggs by the looks of things, but his tyres are 19 laps old. I don't know when he's going to decide to put this car into the pits. This Aston Martin is going to be on its last legs on these tyres here, now serving through 20 laps. Ipswich here on these wets does look to be picking up a decent amount of speed. We'll see how that goes for him later on during this race. Bradshaw is still looking to make a move. These tyres are so worn, but he's still making them work, pushing every single inch out of them.
But on pit stops it says that Bradshaw pitted already.
He might have pitted, but it does look like he stayed with the same tyres. Maybe it's for wing damage, I'm not too sure.
Maybe, yeah.
But it doesn't look like, unless there is a technical issue, it looks like he's still on the same tyres.
It's so unfortunate to see Ethan and Blazerguns, the 2 front runners, out of this race.
It is a shame. Obviously both impressing so much during qualifying, and Ethan talking up such a big game in that Red Bull, but obviously with the wet conditions he's just not been able to get what he wants out of that car. We now look at both Ferraris, who are both setting up in 6th and 7th respectively. Let's see if they can make a move here to potentially climb past Bradshaw, who is looking to make a move here on Moggs down this final straight. Is he going to make the move? He's slowed down and given him the space. Smart move coming through the War of Champions. Don't want to see any issues there, because that could write off your race, but he still holds that acceleration. It looks like he's going to take it. How's he getting past these drivers with 21 lap strong inters? What is going on? Moggs holding him, but just not enough as Bradshaw goes
he
by.
backs out.
He's pushing everything out of these 21 lap worn inters here. Interesting to see him, Nasri and Crunchy all haven't pitted. Nasri has sadly dropped down out of the podium into the backtracking of P11, now out of the points. We have Hairy Dwarf here now looking at Moggs, who does seem to be losing a bit of pace in that Haas here today. 40% ERS, whereas Dwarf is still very much higher. Destroy is looking very, very low on the ERS situation here now. See what Hairy Dwarf can do here as he looks to make an approach on this Haas, who does seem to be losing a lot of pace on these. Oh, Dwarf picking up a penalty could prove to be vital in him not picking up any places here.
But I see even Nifty as well as Bradshaw and Crunchy, but all of them on the same tyres.
I think
21 laps.
All 3 of them pit very soon, as there's no way they can stay with these tyres right now. Crunchy, by the way, climbing 11 places here today. Very, very good race from him here today in this Alfa Romeo, as we now see. Bradshaw holding that 4th that he's been in since the start of this race. Very, very consistent drive from here today. Des climbing 3 places, Immortal climbing 7. Nifty sadly dropping down 6 from P5 down into P11. Ipswich now setting the fastest lap with a 1:22.2. Are these wets gonna again give him this advantage as he looks to climb down on both of these Ferraris here and push himself higher up into the grid? You see Bradshaw here looking at this McLaren of Despro, who is now on the podium again into P3. We've got penalties for everyone behind Moggs and also Immortal. We see Moggs possibly make a move here onto the Aston Martin of Bradshaw, who just looks to be absolutely flying away from him here today. Some very, very quick races here as both Ferraris are now looking at Moggs. Hairy Dwarf could potentially make a move here. Obviously Moggs does not have any penalties, so this does not seem that important. But does he have bit of collision there? That is not what we want to see. That hairpin's proving to be really dangerous. People not braking on time. Oh, what's happened here with Moggs? Moggs has dropped down behind both Ferraris. Oh, he seems to get back. Moggs doesn't get past the second though. Moggs going now wheel to wheel with Hairy Dwarf. Is he going to take back that 5th place that he's been holding for most of this race? He does seem to give him. Oh, does he take him on the inside? That's looking
on
bad.
the inside.
Sure. Oh, yeah. The other Ferrari has flown by though with Bistro pushing himself into P5. 9 seconds worth of penalties though. Dwarf dropping down into 8th and Ipswich out of nowhere with them wets again pushing himself into P6. These wets have served Ipswich so well here today. What a race Ipswich having on these wet tyres.
What just happened there?
I think Ipswich has
Destroyer just came out of nowhere.
As did Ipswich, who was previously in P8 before deciding to make that move on both Ferraris and the Haas car here. But now we have Ipswich looking at Destroyer in these wets. He's holding this grip very, very well in this car here today, the Aston Martin. Does look like Destroyer seems to be pulling away from him here though on this straight through Sector 2. Crunchy holding a very, very impressive lead, but still does need to pit on those 23 lap ready tyres now. Absolutely cooked. These tyres must be on their last legs.
Oh, indeed. Indeed.
Him and Nasri still the only two yet to pit here today. You have Arash though breathing down Moggs' legs, who has just absolutely dropped down here, and as is Dwarf, who is also looking a lot of action here towards the back end of the points. It'll be interesting to see who gains places here. Ipswich also looking to make a move here on Destroyer, who looks to be slowing down quite badly on that Ferrari. Ipswich picking up a 3-second time penalty though is going to hurt, as he was looking to possibly make a move there on Destroyer in that Ferrari car. Egon also looking at making a move here on another Ferrari as he drives this Red Bull through Sector 1 here. We can see if he can make anything happen with this Red Bull. His teammate sadly not had a great race here in the wet at all. Rain is causing so many issues in Canada throughout this entire week. Even Division 5, so many issues with just safety cars, crashes, contact. It's a tough track anyway, but once you add the rain into the mix, Canada can just be so unpredictable. Nifty Nasri picking up another penalty, still has not boxed with these 24 lap inters. What is going on at Mercedes here today? We have Arash here now looking to make a move on this Haas of Moggs, both around the 30% mark on their ERS, but here we have Dwarf with a full ERS looking to provide a burst of energy to see if he can take what it has to get past this Alpine. Is he going to try and get inside on this hairpin as he has every other time? Leaves it wide this time, but he's just looking to eye them up, see if he has what it takes to push this Alpine into possibly making yet another mistake. Immortal picking up a time penalty as well in P2. What have we got going on here? Bradshaw is still looking at Des. Des having such a good race here, defending so well. Interesting to see Crunchy and Nasri still not choosing to pit here. 25 laps deep now on these inters. They have to be struggling at this point to maintain any sort of grip on this track here today.
Oh, Bradshaw's coming really close to Despro, breathing down his neck.
Despro does seem to be the king of defending today though. Does he have what it takes to get past what is frankly an absolute iron curtain here from the McLaren of Despro? Does not seem to be allowing anyone past his car here today. What a drive he's having here. 8 laps on those tyres as opposed to Bradshaw on 25. I believe if Bradshaw does choose to go onto fresh tyres, he'll have that pace, but Des is just going. what speed we're having here from these two races, as we're having a very interesting race towards the front of the pack here. Also an interesting race down in P8 and P9 as Dwarf is flying.
Oh, Bradshaw's going for it. Despro's defending for his life. Down the inside.
Bradshaw making a move here on Desbro, but Desbro is having such a good race here defending. It does seem like he's going to defend him again here going into lap 28. No one has Desbro's number here. What a race he's having today. It's looking like there is actually a problem with the stream, as Bradshaw apparently is not in position at all. Apparently it's actually saying that Bradshaw is in front of Crunchy.
Bradshaw's in first place.
From what I've seen from what Bradshaw is saying, it looks like he's in front of Crunchy, which does mean Bradshaw might actually be further back than what's going on the stream. I don't know if that's technical difficulties or what.
Well, that is the second time it's happened then. Because the same thing happened in Jeddah. The stream, that is weird, man. EA must really fix their stuff.
Yeah, EA really do need to fix their game here, as Desbro does still look to hold off Bradshaw. Desbro absolutely unreal at defending during this race. Moving like Sergio Ramos, does not have anyone seeming to be able to get past him in this McLaren. What's his ERS situation saying? Around the same number as Bradshaw. Very, very impressive drive from Des here today. This McLaren is getting every single bit of juice pushed out of it, as Bradshaw does look now to gain space on him here on this straight. But Desbro is still holding his ground very, very well here, coming through now into the Wall of Champions. Desbro does hold through that chicane very well. Does get a better exit here than Bradshaw as well. Is it enough to give him some time away? From what I've heard, the order on the actual race is Immortal, Desbro, Bradshaw and then Crunchy. So if we just drop Crunchy down 3 places, the rest of the race is as it stands. So we do have, with penalties included, Desbro does look to be in second and Bradshaw in third. Actually, technically speaking, let's have a look at some penalties, because depending on how bad Immortal's penalties are, we could potentially see Desbro and Bradshaw moving up places, as Bradshaw is looking to get his Desbro's number here, but Des is just holding so well in this McLaren here today. Let's have a look at the penalties, as we do see there is a 6-second penalty on Immortal. That 6-second penalty could be enough for Desbro to get a podium if he can just push that time down. Bradshaw still looking to eat away at him here though. Death Destroyer with his 12 seconds of penalties might cause some trouble here though towards this podium area, as he looks to drive very aggressively again. Are we going to see contact with the Ferrari? Just about misses out, but Destroyer playing very, very aggressively today. Very, very angry driving from him in this Ferrari could cause some issues towards the end, as we look to see what the podium is set up as. Desbro now with penalties is only 0.1 seconds away from being considered as the pole winner right now. Bradshaw is still bringing down his back. Nifty has taken Moggs, who does drop behind in this Haas here today. No one can get past Desbro in this McLaren. What a drive he's having now.
Indeed.
Canada usually such a good race for overtakes, but Desbro just proving my theory completely wrong. Absolutely iron curtain of a defence here from him today in this McLaren. Holding his place very, very well here. He does need to start gaining time on Immortal though, who even despite 6-second penalties does look like he is still in the lead of this race here today. Crunchy is technically speaking in P4, but the stream is messing up because EA cannot make a good game.
I just restarted my game. I see Bradshaw's tyres is back to 10 laps.
Oh, okay, so there is technical difficulties with the tyre stuff.
But Crunchy Bay is 28 laps.
Yeah, Crunchy's, I don't know if he's disconnected or what, but this is not where he is in the race.
So currently Immortals in P1, Desbro P2 and Bradshaw P3.
Yeah.
Aha.
Be interested to see what Bradshaw looks to do here, as once again he's going to try challenge this car of Desbro, as is Ipswich on Destroy, who's looking to get the advantage on the Ferrari here. Slight jolt to the side. Does he have what it takes to go on the inside? Gives him the space again. Ipswich are going to need to drive more aggressively than that. I know he's got 6 seconds more than penalties, but if you want to gain places on people in front like Bradshaw, you're going to need to challenge this Ferrari. As he goes into lap 30 here, is he going to try to take this Ferrari who he's been battling with now for around 5 laps? Things slow down again. I don't know if that's another lock up here with those wet tyres that he seems to be having issues locking up with repeatedly now. Bradshaw is still looking to get space here on Des, who just does not give up anything. So consistent here from Des today, staying in P3, holding this podium place for pretty much all of the race. But we have Destroyer looking to get a number on both of them as he tries to push this Ferrari to its limits here. Let's just have a look really quickly at what tyres are saying. Only 12 laps on Des versus Immortals 19, and Bradshaw has...
Bradshaw's going for it!
Bradshaw is looking to push and gets the advantage on Des as he now pushes into P1 with Immortals.
He goes on the inside.
Des holds
he goes wide!
Hits the reverse and manages to get through as Bradshaw retains that place in P3, pushing Des down. Obviously with the podium, that does now mean that as the standings are Immortal P1, Bradshaw P2, Des P3 and Crunchy in P4, but Des is looking to get that place back. Des does not give up anything here. There looks to be a connection of wheels here. Oh, contact there from the McLaren, not the smartest move. Destroyer has been... the Ferrari errors. Both Ferraris have crashed and lost wings.
No! That is a
interesting decision to try to return to track there from Destroyer. What a mistake here from the Ferraris.
What is IP Switch doing?
Ipswich having a very interesting race here. Still has his wing intact as both Ferraris have lost their wings now. Looking like a safety car. This safety car could mean everything for a lot of these drivers. Many people looking to pit here. Mog straight into the pits. I probably can see him taking off these wet. Safety car with 5 laps to go could be a game changer.
Wow. That took a turn.
What a mistake there from the Ferrari, as both Ferraris now having a racing incident, crashing into each other, both losing their wings. We're going to see one of them potentially drop out of the points here. Both of them needing to pit. Mog's just coming out of the pit on fresh inters now.
With 4 laps left. Crunchy Bear into the pits. Nifty, DNF. Oh no.
Oh, Nasri writing off his car now means everyone who finishes today's race is going to be in the points. Crunchy losing a place to Immortal as he goes into the pits here. I'd just like some clarification with Crunchy, what is actually going on with him, because I'm hearing that he is in the lead, but I'm also hearing that he isn't. I would just like to know what is going on there from your guys' perspective, and obviously I will commentate from that point because I am very confused, because I'm hearing he's ahead and then I'm hearing he's in 4th. Egon also into the pits here, Destroy into both Ferraris in the pits, looking to get those wings repaired ASAP. Yeah, John, what's going on with Crunchy? Ipswich going on to fresh wets again. Going with only wet tyres here today is the Aston Martin of Ipswich. Just watching the pack catch. Oh, what interesting decision there from Bradshaw as he just overtakes Crunchy's AI potentially. I don't know what's gone on there. I don't know if that's an illegal overtake or just giving back a position. It's looking like he's just given back a position to Bradshaw. We'll have to see how that goes. So it's Immortal, Bradshaw, Despro, Alonso, Ipswich. Where is Crunchy in this situation then? Yeah. I'm not sure where he is in this race, because it's saying for us he is in P3, but apparently he's not even in the top 5 here. We have Immortal, Bradshaw and Des all on the podium right now. That safety car has meant Immortal is going to drop down because of that 6 seconds worth of penalties. If Bradshaw and Despro can just keep this race clean, we will have a 1-2 for Aston Martin and McLaren here. The other Aston Martin still holding very well with Ipswich in P6. Very respectable race from both Astons today. Respectable race here from the Alpine of Alonso, who was looking to be the least favourite of the two. Interesting to see when the safety car decides to go in. Hopefully we don't end up ending this race under safety car, as that would be a great problem for Immortal. With the 6 seconds worth of penalties, it would be a shame to see that completely, as it looks like podium set is right now Bradshaw, Crunchy and Des. If he, well, obviously not Crunchy because he's not there. I don't know where he is in this race right now. He's saying P3 here, but he's not even in the top 5 from what I'm seeing.
It seems he wants to pass Bradshaw.
Interesting decision there from Bradshaw. Immortal flying with his tyres in this AlphaTauri. Safety car is in this lap.
2 laps of racing.
Interesting that we have people who have not caught up to the safety car queue yet. That could perform very badly for these late runners in the points, especially Moggs, who has not picked up any penalties. Very unfortunately, he's not able to catch up to the safety car queue, or he would be sat in P5 right now as of all these penalties. Oh, from what I've seen, apparently on Nifty's onboard, Crunchy is actually in P3.
Oh, okay. So the grid order is correct now.
So I do believe this is the correct order. We're just going to have to go with what we see on screen with the commentary today, as Dwarf does already get an overtake here. Oh my god, what an incident here, as, oh my god. What have we just seen?
Ipswich out of the race.
What have we just seen? We're going to need someone to clip that so we can get a replay on what has just happened there, because I've just seen half of the pack taken out.
Oh no, the Aston.
What is going on here?
Race.
What have I just watched?
What on earth
has happened?
What
Egon
is
has snuck his
happening?
way into P3 here in the Red Bull.
What's happening with Crunchy
Oh
Bear?
my god, Crunchy Bear is riding another car as he's out of the session. What on earth is going on in the last 2 laps? That's going to be another safety car. It's too late at this point, surely.
I need to record that. That was full speed right into the
Crunchy Bear using someone else's car as a ramp. Very unorthodox strategy in this race.
What is happening?
Desbro still in the lead now with no penalties, as Moggs has worked his way back up the grid due to the racing incident we've seen earlier. It's looking like Desbro is in prime position to win this race unless he makes a late penalty mistake. What have we seen? That did look very intentional.
Happening?
I agree, Rocket. Both incidents looked very intentional. We'll have to take that into review after the race as we come round here into lap 35, the final race of today's Canada Grand Prix. Let's see what we've got here today as we go across the line. Let's take a look at Immortal here, who is flying in this AlphaTauri. 6 seconds worth of penalties though could prove vital for him to get ruined. We have Bradshaw now looking at positioning himself behind him. Egon also looking at gaining place with them. 3 extra seconds of penalties could prove to be a problem here for this Red Bull.
Despro and Morg stands a chance.
Interesting here to see that the Ferraris are the only team of both people looking to finish this race, unless we do see some late action again. Moggs looking to get a position on Des, who has been so good at defending this entire race. Is he going to manage to defend for the final area? As we're going through down here through sector 2. Despro, just no one has his number today. He's defending so well here in this McLaren. Egon picking up another penalty. That surely writes him out of the podium here, unless we see a very big incident coming down into this hairpin. Immortal looks like he's going to be having a comfortable win here on track at the very least, as he comes round the hairpin, taking things very carefully. As he goes through Wall of Champions, this is an on-track win for Immortal, but it does not look like it's going to be that way for others, as Bradshaw and Des and Moggs do look to be taking the podium spots here. Be interesting to see where the penalties play up in this situation. Bradshaw is looking at just not picking up a penalty here as he goes through the final chicane. Is it Bradshaw or Despro picking up the win? Very close here. Bradshaw, does he have enough? Oh, Despro takes the lead with the penalty of Bradshaw to win his first Grand Prix here in this McLaren. What a race here from Despro, as we do have the final standing in. Despro with the win in this McLaren. Stars is cheering for him, for his teammate here. What a race from Des.
Let's go, Despro.
Destroyer
done,
picking up driver of the day on game. Debatable, as he did play very aggressively and decided to crash into everyone, but did somehow manage to finish.
Oh,
let's just try and get some of these drivers in here now so we can have a chat with them. How about how they thought their race went?
Despro in first place, followed by
What
Bradshaw
a finish.
and
Those
Morgs.
penalties proving absolutely vital here, with Bradshaw just missing out because of that 3 seconds.
Morgs,
What a race we've had
Immortal P4, Egon.
Now I'll just try and get hold of some of these fellas who have raced here today, and let's see if we can have a nice little chat.
Alonso in P6. Destroyer, very aggressive, takes P7. It's Eric Wolf, his teammate in P8. Crunchy Bear with a suicidal drive in P9. Ipswich P10 with a very, very interesting wet tyre race. Nifty P11. Ethan in P12. Blazer Guns followed by Slim Shady in P14. Unfortunate for Ethan and Blazer Guns, which were the pole sitters for the race, but had a very, very, very disappointing race indeed.
Just trying to get hold of the drivers who have finished on the podium here today, so we can see if we can have a nice little chat about how they thought their races went. Doesn't like Moggs will not be joining us for the chat tonight, but that is okay. Let's see if we can just get hold of the two who finished first and second.
And Bradshaw.
Let's have a chat with Desbro first. Hello there.
Hello.
How are you feeling today, picking up this win in that McLaren? Incredible race, can I just say. Fantastic defending all throughout.
Thank you. Yeah. What a race. I tried my best and it paid off pretty much.
Some interesting antics there towards the end, as obviously we did see some huge crashes coming through into them final 5 laps. What happened?
Well, to be honest, I don't really know. As soon as we restarted, I got hit from behind, and it looks like it took the person who hit me behind. I'm not sure who it was, but I thought
I did
had
see
it then,
someone at some point use someone as a ramp, which was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
But again, just fantastic driving. What a win there for McLaren. Incredible defending. Obviously, just well done is all I can say. Fantastic drive.
Thank you.
No, definitely, indeed.
Can we see some more wins from you now coming through later on into the Grand Prix season? What do you reckon?
Well, I'm hoping so. I mean, this is to give you the confidence boost to a bit more, push a bit more. So we'll see what happens in the future.
Again, fantastic drive. I would just like to let you know that another McLaren teammate of yours, Stars, has been rooting for you for this entire race. He's very, very happy with you. Very, very proud. But well done tonight.
Thank you.
Bradshaw.
Hello, Bradshaw. How are you feeling after tonight?
Another podium.
Oh, he's muted himself.
Oh?
Just give us 1 second. Bradshaw, you're just going to have to include... Oh, he's gone into game chat. Let me just drop him a message really quick. See if we can just get hold of Bradshaw here. There he is, he's back. Have you included your audio? Go into the party. Should be at the top. Should be able to include your audio. That is very weird. What is going on here? Try leave and rejoin and just see if that allows you to do it real quick. This will be a shame if we can't get an interview here with the man who did finish second tonight. Obviously very unlucky to miss out because of those penalties coming through to bite him at the end. Any luck now? Yeah, I don't know why it's not seeming to let you join into the chat here. what do we do from this situation? Obviously, I would like to
I
interview
guess we
you,
can
but-
translate.
Yeah, I suppose we could try to translate. If you just want to speak for him, that could work. Obviously, those penalties proving to be vital in you not picking up your win here today, narrowly missing out as Des does come through with a clean race, picking up 0 penalties. How did that one feel? Yeah, it was 3/10. Egon obviously did put that pressure on you to cause you to make that mistake and pick up that penalty, but you just can't fault Des tonight with how well he defended pretty much for this entire race. He just capitalised on it straight away. Yeah, you definitely can't complain about back-to-back podiums. It'll be interesting to see how you carry this momentum now coming through into the latter end of the Drivers' Championship here. See if you can gain yourself some paces and possibly move yourself into the higher up rankings this season. Especially with the weather conditions today. Oh my, yeah, I can completely understand that. Glad it was a wet race is a very interesting take, but fair play. Fantastic
No,
driving
indeed,
from
man.
both of you today. It's been a pleasure
Definitely.
watching.
Thank you.
That'll be us done for tonight, boys. What a race and what a finish. Oh my word.
Oh.
Especially them final 5. What an end, as we've seen so much drama coming through in Canada today. The circuit Gilles Villeneuve, always one that's exciting to watch. Been a very good pleasure. Thank you very much tonight, guys. See you next week.
No worries.